Hi, in this video you'll see me build the MCP agent from scratch, all the struggles and the small celebrations throughout the journey. It's a long video, it's over 2.5 hours long, but it shows the whole process, right? And I learned a little bit how to code in the last 12 months, but by no means I'm a technical person or even consider me a web developer. And you'll see in the video the basic simple questions that I ask. But hopefully this video helps everyone who is really curious about AI and building agents, but lack the technical expertise. And more than that, hopefully it shows that if you are really willing to learn and bang your head against the wall, you realize that the gap between having no idea of what something is to actually building something is smaller than you think. Peace you all. Okay, so now in this video, just want to document the process of, learning more about MCP and what does that mean exactly? What does an agent actually mean? Because I think a lot of people use that term, a lot of companies use that term, but I really want to understand what the main difference of an agent and an API is. And so I try to cover as much as possible around what you need to understand in order to learn MCP and how to build actual AI agents. So the first question that I have is, I'll use a real use case for I built just a side project. It's a project management app. And the current issue that I'm facing is I have meeting transcriptions, and in a meeting, like internal meetings in a company, let's say, and then in a meeting, we usually talk about multiple different projects that are going on. And so what I had is I have a custom prompt. Actually, it's like a custom prompt that has Claude summarize the conversations and summarize those conversations by each project, so that in one single meeting I can have summaries and things we talked about different projects, right? And the issue that I'm having now is like Claude does a great job on the summarization piece, but then I have to just copy the Claude summary and paste it in my project, in my app, on that specific project. And so I have to keep going back and forth on Claude. I have to take what its output on that specific project, go to my app, paste it in there, and then go back to Claude, copy the specific part it summarizes about another project, and I have to go to my app, go to the other project page and paste it in there. So I'm basically doing a lot of copy and pasting, and I think this is a use case that it would actually fit perfectly for an agent to do. So let's see. Okay, so the current flow that I use in my app is I take the meeting transcriptions, I add it to Claude to summarize it according to the specific projects that we are working on. Because in one meeting, we may talk about multiple different projects. So what I want Claude to do is just summarize the meeting transcript on those different projects, which is working well. And I have a custom prompt that I use for that. And then once I have the Claude output from different meetings, I copy and paste each meeting summary on each project summary, and I copy and paste that in my project page in my application. So I have to do that multiple times because I need basically to just copy and paste what Claude gives me as an output to my application. I want to automate this flow. And first, is this a good use of MCP? Because in my mind, what Claude could do is actually, I can just take the meeting transcript and I could create a page in my app for that. And I can take my meeting transcript, just upload directly in my application in a specific page. And from there, Claude already knows what to do. Basically, just take that meeting transcript and just copy and pasting the output in those different project pages automatically, like an agent. Is this a good use case for MCP and agents? And also, how complex is it for me to build something like that with MCP and APIs? So Claude summarize according to specific projects into each project page method, acting like an agent. Okay, let's see how it goes now. And by the way, this is the first time I'm using Opus 4. So let's see if probably, I'm not sure if I'll, okay, let me explain why and give you a better approach. For giving Claude access to tools during conversations. It requires an active chat session and human interaction. You want an automaton that runs without you being present. MCP is designed for giving Claude access to tools. Claude API, not MCP. So this is the thing, like what's the actual difference, right? Medium to low, setting up Claude API calls, building the parsing logic. It's more reliable and easier to maintain. Okay, not really the expected answer I was looking for, but so let's see. Okay, I understand that. And so what's the actual difference between the Claude API and MCP? Because companies, even before MCP was launched, they were talking about building agentic workflows, things they can automate with AI. But before MCP, like how they were actually doing that, and what does an agentic workflow actually mean in that context then? So let's first understand what an agent actually is, right? Okay. I feel like there's a lot of ambiguity on these agentic workflows and agents. So let's see, great question. Let's agentic buzzwords. Okay. Direct programmatic access. Your code, Claude, response. You control when, how it runs, works autonomously in the background. Tool access during conversation. Human, Claude with tools, response. Requires active chat. I think this is a key part of it, right? A meeting together. Interesting. For use case, chain APIs calls together, decision trees with LLMs. I don't know Python, but let me try. Multi-step workflows. Writes and improves code. Runs, okay, so autonomously runs without you. Decision making. Here. If X, then Y logic. Multi-step process, chains of actions, tool usage. Most AI agents are just chains, Claude API calls between apps. Scheduled jobs calling Claude for insights. Mostly marketing speak for scripts that call AI APIs and make decisions based on the response. Okay. Easier to give Claude access during conversations, but for autonomous work like yours, you still. Okay, so let me see if I understand this correctly. What an API does and what an quote-unquote AI-powered API, like these examples of agentic workflows with Zapier or things like that, is you actually need to tell the steps that will happen and then just leverage the Claude or any LLM in one step of that specific workflow. Meaning, so in my web app example, if I use that with an API, I would actually need to define the steps, which is like take the meeting transcript, add it to Claude via the API. Claude does the heavy lifting with summarizations according to the custom prompt. From there, I still need to define, okay, take Claude's output, and when the title is X, paste that in project X. And when the title is Y, paste that in project Y. Is that kind of what an API actually is? It's like a defined set of steps that I need to explicitly document, and while one of those steps will be leveraging an AI to do the, let's say, heavy lifting, quote unquote. And if that's the case, the difference between that and using an MCP, I get that I need to have like a live chat session, but could I just potentially say in this example, take this meeting transcript and upload to the correct projects in the application, and then the agent, let's say, through the MCP would be able to do that without having the necessary steps explicitly defined. And okay, Super Whisper just doesn't understand Claude, does it? I define set of steps that I actually between that and using MCP. I get that I need to have a live session, but could I just potentially say, take this meeting transcript, project in the application, and then through. You've got it. That's exactly the difference. Okay. Explicit recite. Okay, so I think you define this. Okay. Step. Well, it's much more simple, it seems. Here's the catch. Even with MCP, you still need to build MCP tools that can access your Rails app, define how to update projects, give Claude the ability to understand your project structure. You write, but you only using tools you've built. What does that mean? So in this case, I would still need to ask it to transcribe it, which is fine. So, yeah, this is the thing. Yeah, even if someone needs to build the bridges, doesn't magically know how to access your Rails apps database, understand your project structure, names mapped to which IDs. Think of it this way: giving high-level goals, but you still need to hire the crew first. Not conversation. Okay, makes sense. So let's change a little bit my use case. So instead of uploading the meeting transcript in my app directly, what if I just open up Claude and just prompt Claude like, summarize this meeting transcript according to the active projects files that in the project knowledge in this project, because that's a file that actually explains what each project is, and that's what I'm using actually now for Claude to summarize those meetings. So what if I had this chat and I had this prompt and Claude would give me the output in the same way that it gives me today, but then I want it from there. I want Claude to go into my app and paste those meeting transcripts specific from each project to the project pages specifically. I can provide the code, especially because it's built on Rails, so I can provide the code and I can provide the schema database. In this approach, would it make more sense to use an MCP? What am I missing here? So I don't want to force the use of MCP for this use case specifically, but since I want to learn more about MCP, I'm just trying to change the use case a little bit to kind of fit it, the needs. Now you're describing a perfect MCP use case. Wow, okay. Slide 4. Why this works with MCP active Claude chat session? Claude already has context, the summaries. You want Claude to take action based on the conversation. You can review, approve before Claude acts. Okay, here's what should happen. According to this product Claude, here are the summaries. Okay, now update this in my Rails app. And to connect your Rails app and update each project. Yeah, this is it. We'll need to build MCP Server for our Rails app. Rails API endpoints. Summarizes by project. to list your what is authentication securely. Okay, from your summary to what if a project doesn't exist? Wow, okay, but I mean, this is medium, like it's a few hours during your conversation based on what you've discussed. It's like, okay, so let me be very specific here before moving on, because I need to make sure that this makes sense. So let's go to the actual project that I'm using to currently do that. Just give an example here. So let's use another. Let's use this one. Oops. So this is a typical output that it would give me. So what I want to do now, let's say, because I have a special super whisper shortcut for that prompt. So let me think about it. It's project summary. Project summary. Project summary. Fuck. Whatever. So yeah, this is what I need. So this is the actual prompt that I gave it. So, and what I'll do as well is active projects and down. So what I'll do is, because I'm kind of simulating the exact situation where I ask Claude to summarize a meeting. So I take a meeting transcript and I put in the chat, and I run this exact prompt, meeting and answer according to the project manager persona, as well as taking the formatting of the output structure section into consideration. And then these are all active projects. Okay, so this is the exact prompt that I give Claude when I have a meeting summary. And attached in this message, you can see one of Claude's output as an example. And you also have the project manager project file, which is what I call in my prompt of project manager persona, because this is the file that is in the project knowledge in that specific Claude project. And in that file, there is a section named output structure by project. And I just want Claude to follow that formatting for the output. And there is another document attached in this chat, which is also attached in the project knowledge from the project where I actually run this prompt with all active projects. So to answer your question, yeah, on number 4, Claude could use MCP tools to access my Google Drive and look at the active projects file, as well as the project manager project file, so that it can give an output with the formatting that I want. And the question then is, for Claude to access my project management app, that's where I need to build an API. I hope it's not too confusing, because let's see if it understands. You can see one of Claude's outputs as an example. You'll also have the project, which is what I call in my prompt of project manager persona. Demorou. Você vai deitar pouco? Pode ser. Or this is the file that is in the project knowledge, specific Claude project. In that file, There is a section in out. Okay. There is another document attached in this chat, which is also attached in the project knowledge from the project where I actually run this prompt with all active projects. So to answer, yeah, Claude could use MCP to access my Google Drive and look at the active projects file as well as the project manager, so that it can give an output with the formatting that I want. The question then is, well, this is a pretty complex prompt, I think. It's very meta, but I think you will understand it. I think it's well structured and well written. Let's see. Okay, exactly. You've got the architecture right. Already available. Go through this menu. Use MCP Google Drive 2 to read active project. No. Take this in my project. Your custom MCP server to update. Okay, two part. Already exists. Has a Google Drive server you can install. Read your project knowledge files directly. This is incredible. No coding needed from you. Okay. Now this is where I think the tricky part comes in, where I need to build my own custom MCP server for my Rails app. I have no idea of what this means, but this is JavaScript. Your Rails API would be simple. Okay. Is it really just this? The beauty of this approach, Claude already knows your project structure from Google Drive. Claude can match lead routing sequence from the summary to the actual project in your database. You stay in control. Can review before Claude updates. Medium low, really simple CRUD. The project names in your need to match exactly with your Rails database, or you need a mapping layer. Okay, I'll take this one step further because I want to show the exact workflow that I go through. I'll just run my little app here now. Okay, so the way it works is like, I have all these meetings, let's say, and I have in this weekly sales meetings, let's say. And this is basically what I copy and paste in my app based on Claude's output. So let me try and do something because I think I can actually skip the Google Drive piece here. But let me actually, okay, so let's one thing. So these are all the projects that I have in my app, and I'll just take an example. Okay, awesome. So let's take this one step further, because I think I can skip the piece where Claude goes into my Google Drive, because what I'm thinking is I think I can have all the things that are in the Google Drive in my app, so, and that can also address your considerations. So the first consideration, that the active project file needs to match exactly with your Rails database project names, right? So instead of having to worry about having my file have the exact names of the active projects in my app, would it work if I just open up Claude, put the meeting transcript there, and then instead of telling Claude to go through the files in the project knowledge, I can actually tell Claude, go through this page, which is the first screenshot in this message, where you have all the active projects listed. So it would go into my app on that specific page and just see which are all the active projects. And I could also tell Claude, within each active project page, you will see the project description, which is highlighted in the second screenshot, so that you know how to summarize the meeting based on each project description so that there isn't any overlap and ambiguity when you are summarizing the meeting conversation. And I can also have somewhere in my app, like a specific page, the specific formatting for the output that I want Claude to give me. And I can just say, go to that specific page and give me your output following the formatting in that page. Would that potentially skip the step where Claude needs to go to the Google Drive to check those files? Because I think I can skip the piece where Claude goes into Google Drive, because what I'm thinking is I can have all the things that are in my app. The first consideration is not the active. Don't worry about having my project note. I can actually tell Claude, go through this page, which is the first. Just see which are all the active projects. Claude, within each active project, you'll see the project description. Highlight based on each project description so that there isn't any overlap and ambiguity conversation. Because this is one problem that I had. Like, I have similar projects, and then sometimes Claude would take the meeting transcript and summarize what I believed should be in one project. It would actually summarize it according to another project, because I think the descriptions weren't really clear, if that makes sense. I can also have somewhere in my app, like, go to the specific. Would that potentially skip the step where Claude needs to go? And eventually, like in a real use case, if I'm working for a company and I'm building multiple agents, is this way of thinking better because it centralizes all the places, all the things that Claude needs to go through in one single place? Am I thinking about it correctly? Anything I'm missing here? Yes, you're thinking about this perfectly. This is actually a more elegant solution than using Google Drive. You just have designed a proper... Wow. Okay, why this is better? Single source of truth, no sync issues between Google Drive and your app, update project descriptions once, Claude always sees the latest. Yeah. Know which file is the right one, confusion. Where proposed flow. Summarize this meeting to read projects page, see all active projects. Reads each project's descriptions from project ID pages. The projects. I mean, if this is how it works, this is amazing. Tools you need. Okay, this is what I don't. What tools? Well, what does that mean? And is it really just this? For enterprise with centralized management, IT rivals. Yeah, permissions. Different users can have different project access. Audit trail. The same source. Add new agents, they all read from the same source. So this is key, right? Formatting rules can evolve without updating files. What you're not missing, you nail it. Okay. Dynamic project lists, add a project Claude really knows, real-time description updates, consistent formatting across all agents, no manual scraping or make your Rails apps serve JSON endpoints. This way Claude gets clean, structured data instead of parsing HTML. I don't know what that means. I know JSON is kind of a way to structure the data. I think it's in a more scalable, digestible way, I guess. You're thinking like a proper systems architect here, centralizing your source of truth is exactly the right instinct. Okay. Let me think if there is any. Okay. And when you talk about MCP tools, what does that actually mean? Because MCP is a server, isn't it? And as far as I know, MCP is an quote-unquote API for LLMs, correct? So the MCP connects to, the software and tools API, and the MCP makes the bridge between the LLM and the API, isn't it? If that's the case, just also clarify to me what's an API endpoint. And I have no experience with APIs. My app does not have an API. What are the basic things that I need to understand about APIs in order to build one in my Rails 7 app? I know that Rails also gives me a pretty simple way to build an API, so take that into consideration. The other question is, in your output, you are giving me an MCP tool, but that's in JavaScript, correct? So where do I write this JavaScript code? And what's a JSON endpoint? So this is me really like being honest and knowing that I don't know shit, but I mean, at least it seems that I'm thinking about it in the right way. So MCP, what does that actually mean? Because MCP is a server, isn't it? And as far as I know, MCP is an API for LLMs, correct? So the MCP, if that's the case, just clarify what's an, okay. Perfect questions. Exactly right. Here is the architecture. MCP server, JavaScript, your database. Think of it like a red Claude, the waiter taking your order. MCP, the kitchen pass translates orders to kitchen language. Actually makes the food, the punch with the ingredients. What's an endpoint? It's just an URL that returns data instead of a web page. Interesting. Regular web page. Get your app. Returns HTML page with styling. API endpoints. Returns raw data, usually JSON. Okay. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. It's literally this easy. I love Rails because of that, man. Config routes, RB. That's it. The controller. I go and class API. Okay, that's it. You now have an API that lists projects to add API projects. API project show projects details at accept nodes at, okay. Small project that runs on your computer. Create a folder on your computer. My Rails MCP. Tell Claude about your MCP server in Claude settings. MCP calls get projects tool. Returns data project data. Okay, that makes sense. Claude uses MCP. Wow. Add API to Rails. 5 minutes. Add the routes. Create the control. Test. Okay. Create MCP server. 20 minutes. I mean, this seems to be way simpler than it actually probably is. So let me take one step further on this. I'll add, and this is the great thing about Claude, I can basically just add my whole GitHub repository here in the chat, because what I'm thinking here is, okay, I understand these pieces, project, oh, okay, this all makes sense, right? But then probably this is different. Add nodes, project nodes create, because I don't know because in my Rails app, what Claude is calling project nodes is actually called comments. Is a model called comments. So probably that will make a difference, because you can see this syntax here. It's just pretty much the same here, I think. Okay, so let's do this. Here attached, you can find my GitHub repository. So write me the code for me to create an API in the same way that you did in your previous output, but considering the actual model names and actions that I have in my app. You just go through the GitHub repository, you'll be able to find those, as well as the JavaScript code. Because, and correct me if I'm wrong, the JavaScript code that you suggested, there are some names that should match the API and the actions in the code, in the Ruby code that you had given me, isn't it? And if it isn't, maybe I'm wrong, but I guess my question is, which parts of the JavaScript code to build the MCP server need to match exactly the Ruby code in my app? And I have some other questions, why I'm using Node.JS to build the server. And okay, so here attached you can find my GitHub repository. Send me the code to create an API in the same way you did in your review. Send me the code. The actual model names and action I have in mind. Just go through the GitHub repository, you'll be able to find those. Just okay. Also, why are you suggesting me to create this MCP server in JavaScript? Isn't it possible to create it in Rails? And the other thing is, once I create the folder in my computer, my Rails MCP, how do I create these files? Do I literally just open up VS Code and copy and paste this code and just save it in the my Rails MCP folder? Like, I really need specific steps because I have no idea. Okay, and one last question. And then one last question, and this is more out of curiosity, so don't need to expand too much on this, but in a situation where I'm working for a company to build these MCP servers, as far as I understood, these are local servers that will be running only in my computer. So how can I have people from the whole company using other computers run this server if that server is only in my computer? Does that make sense? Am I understanding this correctly? The correct code. Here's the API you need. Routes. I can't believe it's just copy and pasting that. The problem is that I have no idea, like, if something goes wrong, it's really hard for me to find the problem, you know. Must match URL path. Okay. Yeah, this is the key piece, right? Yeah. 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 Yes, exactly. In a company thing, great question. All right, MCP runs locally. Each person needs MCP installed on their computer, points to the same company Rails API. Installed locally but connects to the same workspace. Okay, that makes sense. Configs to all computers. Okay. Company central database. Okay. So hopefully I didn't run into like too many tokens here, but what I'll do now is, okay, awesome. So let's do this. You have access to my GitHub repository, which I'm uploading again in this message. I want you to give me the exact little steps that I need to take in order to make this work. I don't have Node.js installed, so make sure you include this in the step-by-step guide you'll be giving me. Also, while I implement the code, the Rails code in my app, suggest me when I should commit the code and have version control so that I don't end up breaking anything that is already working. This is really key. This is really important, because if you're someone who already tried coding with these LLMs, like you just deploy the code, something doesn't work, and then you just keep asking, keep copying and pasting code, and like when you realize you just built this Frankenstein, you don't know when the error happens and what's broken. So having this version control is crucial. I had to learn that in the hard way. So for things, bigger things like that, I usually like to ask to meta prompt, because probably Claude will be able to write a prompt that is much more accurate and clear and not ambiguous than I can. So what I want to do is write me a prompt for me to make this work. To write me a prompt considering the following, as well as the chat history, for me to make this work. Let me think if there is anything else I need to include. I'm a very junior programmer, so I don't know much about programming, so make sure you break down things in little steps, because I really need specific instructions. And one example of that is really asking how to write that MCP JavaScript code and where to add that in my file, right? That's a pretty beginner's question, but this is an example of my level of experience with this. So this is also really key, because it will be very specific. Okay, let me think. Sheen is Rails and Homebrew, I guess. Okay, so you see, like, I think more and more, the piece that takes more time is this exploratory initial phase where you want to understand, you want to really communicate what you want to achieve and how, because you really want to have as few, ideally none, but as few blind spots as possible before doing the actual work, because then you will figure out things while you're already halfway through the thing, and it just gets harder. So yeah, you see, it didn't understand that I was meta prompting. But I mean, let's see, maybe this is pretty, and I mean, this is good, probably. Okay, so see, this is very specific. Yeah, controller folder. So I want to be even more specific, because I say every time it says app, it should be probably mind underline book, which is the name of my app, I think. Let me just check this real quick, actually. No, actually it's app, yeah. Okay. Okay, so this looks pretty detailed, but now I have to leave. But yeah, I think this was a good way to show on how to think through a problem that you want to solve, and how to ask the questions to Claude and think in first principles. So next time I'll come and execute this. Okay, good morning. Taking this from I left off yesterday. Want to keep working on creating my first agent via MCP in my little side project that I have, a project management app. So this is where I stopped yesterday. It gave me a complete guide, step by step, for me to create this MCP. I just have one thing that I forgot to mention yesterday, which is, let me check one thing actually. I want to be more specific about where the agent will write the comments. So where is this? If I go to views, weekly summaries, projects, channels. No, it's comments actually, right? Comments, new. I think this is it. Comments, new form. Yeah, this is it. And then I have this parent, because I'm using the same form to create a comment in both the channel, which is basically the meeting, and the project. So let me just check one thing real quick. If I go to my projects show page, here I have the partial shared timeline, render comments, new form. This is the comments, new form. This is the one. Yeah, this is the one where I have the parent, because I have so what this means is that basically, like, I can create a comment, meaning I can create like any project update from both the meeting layout or the project itself. So I know this doesn't make any sense, but let me show you the actual application. I think it'll be easier for you to understand. So what this means is I have all these projects here, and I can basically create a project summary. You see, like, any comment related to the project, I can actually create it directly from the project page, or I can go from the channels. The channels is basically the meeting. So if I have a weekly sales meeting where we discuss multiple projects, you see, like, this is one project that we've discussed in that meeting. This is another one. This is another one. So I can basically create that same comment from this meeting page and then select the project, and then this comment will also be updating the project's page. So let's say, for example for video, let's say, and then I can just put the date, which is June 2nd, and I'll just add it to this ideal client project, let's say, right? So this is the date in which the comment was related to. You can be creative, but I can change that later. And this is the project, right? So and you see I added this comment from this meeting layout, but then if I go to this project, you see how the comment is here in the same way. So anything that I create from, and in the same way that if I change this here, and this is, and in the projects page, I can choose the channel, as well as in the channel page, I can choose the project. But then if I click edit it here and I go back to the channels and to that meeting, you see how this changes. So basically, I can create a comment for a specific project or meeting in both the meeting or the project pages, and the comment will be updating both pages. So the question that I have now is not actually a question, but one thing that I want to specify to Claude here is that I want the agent actually to just create a comment from the channels page, and that will update the respective project. So this is, I mean, I think this is not super, like, it's not really crucial, but I think it's good to kind of make it more specific, right? So what I'll do, and this is coming from this actual comments new form, right? So let's add this here from GitHub. New form, yeah, this is it. So I'll just add this to here, and then let me check one thing now that I have a question. Weekly summary, timeline. I can project show. Okay, channel show. I'll just add both project and show and channel show page, just so Claude knows that the parent in this case is the channel. You see, I'm defining the parent variable here, and so you see this is the parent. Actually, it's here. So there is a conditional now, so I can use the same form for both pages. I think I'll just add those there. I don't think it will make a difference, but it also helps me to kind of organize my thoughts. So projects show, and then I have channels show as well. So, okay, so before we start, I want to be a bit more specific, which is in my project management application, the agent can update a project, can add a comment to the project from both the project show page or the channel, which is basically a meeting, show page. So there is a new comment form in both project show and channel show page. What I want the agent, or in this case Claude, to do is to always create a new comment from the channel show page, and I can specify that in my prompt, but I want Claude to always create the comment from the channel show page, because as you can see in the code, anything that is created in the channel show page is also created in the project show page, and vice versa. The same goes if I want to edit something. So I know probably this is not super, this won't make a big difference, but I think it's good to really specify how I want Claude to work in the application. Does that make sense? And actually I will ask if it makes sense for me to kind of specify that to that level, In my project management application, the agent can update a project and add a comment from both the project show page or the channel, from both the project or channel show pages, which is basically a meeting show. There is a new comment form in both project show and channel show page. A channel in my app is basically a meeting, so I can upload, a channel in my app basically corresponds to a specific meeting. So basically I can upload or ask Claude to summarize the transcripts from that specific meeting. I won't go into that detail. So what I want the agent, in this case Claude, to do is always create a new comment from the channel show page. Specify which project. Okay, so this is taking the whole thing. Two files selected. How can I see the file? Comments, new form. Okay, it doesn't really tell me which two files. So I think that was the one, right? I don't remember. Let me also do something in the channel show page. Drop down. This is the drop down required. See? Select the project. Okay. A channel in my app basically means a meeting. So for example, if I have a weekly sales meeting, every meeting transcript from that meeting I'll ask for Claude to summarize, I'll be uploading from that channel show page, because then I can identify the transcript, like what was talked in each specific meeting. If that makes sense. Someone calling me, just a second. What I'm calling channel in my app is basically a meeting. So for example, if I have a weekly sales meeting and I'll have a channel record called weekly sales meeting, and what I'll ask Claude to do is every time I have a meeting transcription from that meeting, I'll have Claude go to that specific channel show page and add the comments from that page. And I can specify that in the prompt as well. Does that make sense? Okay, so here what I'm doing is actually just being a lot more specific on how I want Claude, the agent, to work in my app. And this is the thing, it's still not really clear to me, like how specific and deterministic I need to be in those directions. But I guess I'll figure that out. So let's see. Or before I can, let me just make it clear. Provided above, shortening. Really? Wow. This was a short chat, man. So let me try and start from here. So I didn't ignore, right? Let's see what it says now. I think this is interesting for you all see, because yeah, I mean, working with an LLM is not always that smooth. So try again. So help me here, So this is how my app currently works. I have a project model and a channel model. A channel is basically a meeting. So let's say I have a weekly sales meeting, and so I'll create a new channel record named weekly sales meeting. And every time we go through that meeting, and I'll upload that meeting transcript, and I ask Claude to summarize it. I want Claude to go to that specific meeting record in the channel show page and update and add the summaries on that channel show page. And then if I have another meeting, let's say weekly marketing meeting, it's the same, but then Claude goes and updates the channel record that is related to the weekly marketing meeting, right? So the thing is, and now you can see the new comment form attached here, the code. You'll see that you can create a comment for a project from both the project show page directly or from the channel show page as well. In the channel show page, whenever I want to add a comment, I need to select which project that comment is associated with from a drop-down. You can see that in the code. So when Claude goes and does that, I want Claude to always create a comment for a project from the channel show page specifically. Does that make sense? Do I need to be that specific on how I want Claude to work in my application? Project channel model. A channel is basically a meeting, so I'll create a new channel record name. From both the project show page directly or from the channel show page. In the channel show page, what's the balance between being too specific on step by step, that I basically would just use an API for that, and giving enough context but not highlighting the specific steps that Claude needs to take through an MCP? Specify. How do you write specify? Like this? So yeah, before it gives me the step-by-step, I'll ask just this one thing. And is it clear how I want Claude to work in my application? Can you give me a little summary on how I want the workflow to be done, just so that I make sure that you understand? It's always good to have an assurance, right? There's that channels, meetings, flow. You upload the meeting transcript to Claude. Claude summarizes it by project, user, existing prompt. Claude navigates to the specific channel show page discussed in the meeting. Claude creates a comment with that. Selects the correct project from the drop-down. Yeah, that's it. It just summarized really well. Like, now I'm sure he understands. So, becomes a historical record of all meetings of the project-specific summaries. Yeah. The MCP balance. This is key. Too specific. API-like. Okay, I don't know what that means. Returns our channels. Here's the updated. Understand context. Add the summaries to the weekly sales meeting. You tell, here's the meeting transfer from today's weekly. Please summarize it by project and add the summaries. Okay. No need to specify every click and form field. Okay. Oh, fuck. Now let's do it, right? Comments new form. Actually, I'll add everything at once. Comments new form. Channel show page. And project show page. Okay, so give me a little step-by-step guide, like be very specific, because I really have no experience building APIs or creating MCP servers. Make it very specific. Also, suggest me when I should be committing the code so that I don't break the current application, and make sure I have the proper version control when deploying this. You can see attached here the code of the new comments form, which is the form used to create a new comment, as well as the project and the channel show pages. Use that as a reference if you need. Also, don't hesitate on asking me for anything else you need in order to complete this task. I don't have Node.js installed on my computer. I don't know how to install that. The only things that I have installed are Rails 7 and Homebrew. So take that into consideration in this step-by-step guide. Make sure I have proper version control when deploying this. You can see attached. Let me try to ask for a meta prompt again. Let me do this. Okay, so now what I want you to do is to create a prompt with the objective of creating a very specific step-by-step guide for me to build my first Claude agent with MCP in my project management application. In the prompt you create, take this into consideration. These points into consideration. What if I do? I've heard sometimes if you kind of put it in like uppercase letters, the model just pays more attention. I don't know if it's true, but with the objective of creating a very specific step from this chat's history. You can see from this chat's history how beginner I am. Whatever. Let's see if now it understands. What the fuck, man? Really? So I think I need to change my approach here. It seems that, I don't know if it's Opus or, but this is really, really like short. Like it was a brief chat. So I'll have this prompt here. Okay, so what I want you to do is to, well, let me see if removing this prompt, I'll actually create a new chat for this prompt. So include any important context we have in this chat in the prompt that you build, because in that new chat, Claude needs to have like all the important context in order to perform the action, right? So take that into consideration as well as these next topics. Let's see if it goes now, right? This is from the project knowledge. This is interesting. Okay, this is good. Project model has name, description, represents recurring meetings. Okay, comments model. Yeah. Key feature from a channel. So I'll probably upload the model code, like the codes for the models. Key feature from a channel show page. User can create comments and must select which project comments relates from a drop down. What I want to build, an MCP integration where I upload the meeting transcript to Claude, summarize it by project. I already have a working prompt for this. This summaries as comments to the correct channel page. Yeah. Take manual, I take mini. Yeah. Yeah. Checkpoint so I don't break this is key. No placeholders, yeah. Explain technical concepts in simple terms. Yeah. This is really cool. Yeah. New all the content. This is incredible. Okay, so what I'll do is basically just take that, add it here, and I'll add the models, the project, comment, and channel models, which is basically data structure, but this prompt is really good, to be honest. Also, attached you can find the form to create a new comment, the channel and project show page, as well as the channel, projects, and comment models for reference. Let me know if you need anything else in order to perform this task in the best, most efficient way possible. The code for the form to create a new comment, the channel project show page, as well as the channel project. Let me know if you need anything. So now I really want to see the power of this Opus form model and if it lives up to all this hype. So I need to see something in the kitchen. Okay. From zero to working the work. Can I run like that? Let's see. An MCP server that lets Claude find channels in your Rails app, create comments with summaries, associate comments with the correct projects, automatic. Check Ruby version. Okay. Homebrew, this is easy. Install. GitHub checkpoint. I don't know why create a new branch, but Your Rails data through API endpoints. So this is the key piece. Generate API controller. I need to create 3. Okay. API control. Oh, this looks like a massive thing. But I mean, the steps are really specific. I mean, it should work, I guess. Projects controller. So what's this? Channels API controller. Replace the contents of. So basically what it is saying for now is just check the versions, install Node, create a new branch for this feature. I'll actually ask why. Then, but it's a version control obviously, but yeah. So create Rails, then I need to create the controllers for the APIs, update the routes, okay, create, and then create the channels, comments, and project control. Now I'll actually ask, why do I need to do that? Because Claude is not actually going to create new projects. But yeah, test the endpoints, build the MCP Server, install dependencies. Yeah, this is, I think, in Node. Great. This is in JavaScript. Yeah, it's a lot here. So I don't want to have high expectations on this Opus 4 because I mean people are really saying really good things about it, but it's taking too long, and hopefully it doesn't break, you know. It even tells me how to find my Mac username. Test the integration. This is really going to be nice. Yeah, it'll be so cool when this is working now. Wow, it's giving me a whole thing here. So I'll just add all the changes from the branch, I think, to main branch. Okay, this is all great. So I just have a few questions before getting started. One is, why am I creating a new branch for this feature? What is a branch exactly on GitHub? And in my mind, why couldn't I just commit code to the main branch, but commit code gradually as I go? So for example, generate the API controllers and update routes, then I can commit. Then I create the 3 API controllers, then I commit code again. What's the difference between doing that in the main branch and having a new branch for that? And the other question is, why do I need to generate an API endpoint for both channels, projects, and comments? What does each controller actually do here? So these are just last conceptual questions before I get started, because I want to have a better understanding of what I'll be doing and why. But I don't need to be very, it's just to get an idea. I don't need to be Claude to be super specific in here. So I'll actually add one last piece to this prompt, but let's review this first. A few questions. Why am I creating a new branch for this feature? What is a branch exactly on GitHub? Why couldn't I just commit code for the... I think I know the answer to this question. A new branch probably is just like a separate piece of code that I can just work on independently, kind of, and then make sure that if it's working, I can just add to the main branch. That's probably it. And I think that is also helpful because I don't have to work with multiple version controls. I'll actually ask here. No need to be super specific on your response. It can be just a more concise answer. I just want to have a higher level understanding of why and what am I doing here. And here, let me do this. I think I know the difference, but just want to confirm. A new branch would be basically just a separate, independent piece of code from the main application where I can just try, add, and test stuff. And then if it works well, I can just basically commit the code from that branch to the main branch. I think the upside on doing that is because I don't have to work with multiple version controls and commit code multiple times like I would do if I was changing everything directly in the main branch. Is that correct? Anything else I'm missing in this piece? Let's change this here. Mostly right. A branch is like a parallel universe where you can experiment safely. Okay, yeah, this is makes sense for multi-day features. It may easy to abandon the whole feature. Just delete the branch. Can test the complete feature before merging. Other people can work on different features. Renovating your house, you wouldn't tear down walls in your actual bedroom. You would build them. So it's really hard to work when you have a 2-year-old at home who is not going to daycare yet. Anyways, think of it like renovating your house. Yeah. Each controller creates a communication bridge between list all your meeting types. Let Claude find the right channel. Needs to know where to post comments, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. Blindfold. It needs to see or didn't click the right programmatically. Okay, so now I need to make a little break, but still today I want to start working on this. Pretty excited. Let's see. Okay, so I'm back. Let's get started with building this MCP. Okay, let's see what I've got. So I'll help you build the first Claude MCP. Okay, let's do it. Okay, before we start, let's make sure you have everything. Okay, check. Let's open up a new terminal tab here. Should be correct, 7.1.32. Okay, check if Homebrew is installed. Homebrew 4.4. Okay, check Ruby version. Okay, 3.30. Install Node. Okay, this is easy. Brew install. And you'll see I'll do a lot of copy and pasting because I don't really know what I'm doing here. But brew install Node. So I'm installing Node.JS here, which I think is basically a framework of JavaScript. Verify installation. Okay, let's just wait and see how that goes. And I'm thinking about actually, when uploading this video, upload like a full version with all of these, and as well as an uncut version, like an uncut version with all of these, which is the full, and kind of the edited, which doesn't show all of these pieces where, you know, just me looking at the screen and code running or waiting for a Claude response. Okay, verify installation. Let's just clear this. 24.0.1.1, okay, or higher. So okay, 11.3. So both is high, are higher. Okay. Now let's create a safe checkpoint before making changes. Okay, I think that's where I'll create the branch, right? So if I just clear this and I go to my Rails apps, Rail app directory. Okay, I'm already here, right? Okay, okay, that's my directory. So create a new branch for this feature. Git checkout B, add MCP integration. Switch it to a new branch, add MCP integration. Okay, commit, this part I know. Created a new Git branch for before adding MCP integration. Okay, I'm not sure on branch MCP integration. Nothing to commit. Working tree clean. I think that's, is that right? Or, you know, and this is where things, you start having questions, right? So GitHub. So Mindbook, branch 1, main. So I think I should be able to, I should see one branch here, isn't it? Let's see. And usually for these easy, like quick questions, I like to use Gemini because it's the Google, right? So I just created a new branch for my web application that I'm running locally, but I don't seem to find the branch in my GitHub repository. Is that correct? And one thing that is really useful, like I could just upload this, like the screenshot, and then I can just tell like this is the code. This is the command that I ran in my terminal. So I mean this video is going to be, I think, a bit heavy because I'll just go back and forth between these places, adding screenshots and just trying to figure out what this all means. But based on the information provided, it is correct that you won't see a new branch. Here's why. GitHub, this command successfully created a local branch named computer. The flex tells to create the branch if it doesn't exist and then switch to it. Okay, git add. Committed your local. However, this action only happened in your local machine. To make the new branch visible, to push it to the remote repository. Explain. Yeah, so I'm using Claude to just test and add an MCP in my application, which is running locally. Do I need to push it or can I just leave as is? Because I'm sure Claude would have told me to push it if, you know, it was necessary. If you're only using the cloud environment for testing and the core development, and when you might want to push. Okay, reasons why not to need to isolate. If Cloud is completely separate and you're just deploying the current state of it. Okay, but I won't read all of this because it is already assuming I'm in my cloud environment, which is not the case. Okay, this makes sense. Short-lived experience. Okay. What the fuck? This is Thai or Hindi. Plan to collaborate on this feature with others in the future. Okay, but just to clarify, my application is running locally and I didn't push the commit to GitHub. So everything's running locally. I don't have anything in the cloud. Would your recommendation still be the same? It remains the same. Haven't deployed anything to the cloud yet, then the branch created and the commit exists only on your local machine. In this scenario, there's no need to push the branch to Git. It's a remote repository, and if you're not using any cloud service or collaborating remote state, leaving the branch local is perfectly fine. You can continue. Okay, whatever. Okay, so it seems that it's working, right? So to expose your Rails data through API endpoints, let's create a dedicated. Okay, so I'll just create these 3 controllers. And I should see now in my code, in the controllers, not in JavaScript, here, API, you see? So this was all created, it was just created with this command. And I don't know how to code in other programming languages, but I know Rails gives us really easy ways to build all of these just with a few commands in the terminal. So that's really great. So now I go to my routes, which is basically the URLs that I have in my application. Okay. And your existing add API for MCP. Okay. So I guess I'll just add those after this last piece. So I think this is it, isn't it? So this is, I have some problem with these indentations, but this is, and with this, I guess. Okay, I guess this is right. Okay. Okay, create the channels API controller. Okay, replace the contents of app controllers API, which is here, I guess. This is the project one. How can I see? Controllers API channels. Okay, so one thing that is really key when programming is to make sure, I always read the headline here to make sure it's in the right file. And this is what this is referencing. So app controllers, API, v1, MCP, channels, another controller. Okay, so replace the contents. And I'll just copy this maybe. Okay. And if someone also knows how to keep tab size equals 2 here, because this really bothers me. I mean, it doesn't matter, but for example, like this, I always want to push everything 1 to be really. Just let me test one thing. Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so I created that. Create the project API controller. Okay, I'll do the same, but now with the project API controller. So a project API. So I'm assuming this is the one, right? Projects controller API. So okay. And I wonder if this all could be done by just Claude code. I'm assuming it could, right? But I think I mean, you have to pay for that and stuff. So now the comments controller spaces. Okay. Oops. What the fuck? Okay. Test your API endpoints. Now this is, I think this is the first part, where I'll see if it's working, at least kind of, right? So what I'll do, it is telling me to run my Rails server, but I already have it on. So let me clear this, run my server. Oops. Whoa, fuck, wait. Oh yeah, it's here. And then I go to projects. Okay. Whereas in a new terminal, test the endpoints, list all channels. Let's see how this goes now. I guess I can close this one. But yeah, I'll just leave it here. Like here. What the fuck? I don't know if this is what this is. I mean, it is returning me the whole HTML, I guess, and CSS. So this is the thing, like it doesn't tell me what the output should be, but now it's time where I start asking Claude. On your step 3.6, specifically when I test the endpoints and to list all channels using the command, this is the output. Is this correct? I'll just copy this whole thing. I really hope this is it, you know. Well, this already tells me it's something wrong, right? That's not correct. You're getting an error. The issue is that you're to skip an authentication callback that doesn't exist. Authentication callback that doesn't exist in your Rails, in your application controller. What does that mean? So what I'll do, actually, I'll just go to ChatGPT. And I have just the free version, so I don't know if... Oh man. Yeah, and this is where we should not panic and just take a deep breath and resist the urge of just going here, copy and pasting over the previous code, because that's when things start getting messy. So let me actually, maybe I can change this, and and this is the first time I'm doing this, but I don't want to hit the limit on this chat, and that's why I thought about using ChatGPT. But actually, one thing I'll do, and this is the first time I'll do that, but I think it will save me some space, whatever I can call that. So it seems that the issues that doesn't exist in your application controller. What does that mean? And is it bad that I don't have... Is it bad that I don't have a authentication callback in my application controller? One thing also is like, no, let's just do this for now. Just make sure it didn't change the previous code. I mean, I won't know, but whatever. Great question. Let me give you a concise high-level understanding. Git branches. You've got it mostly right. A branch is like a problem. Oh, what the fuck? Okay, here. Okay, 0 means your Rails app doesn't have authentication set. It specifically doesn't have the authentication. It's commonly added by device, but it does have code to skip authentication that doesn't exist in our app. Quick fix from all 3 controllers. Okay. Skip before action. Where is it? Okay, here. So it's just that before action set project. Okay, maybe I'll just from all 3 controllers. Okay. Authenticate user. That's the one, right? Okay, yeah. Save this. I'll also remove this. So that's the thing. I think I don't really know what I'm doing, sort of, kind of, but I have a general understanding of kind of what I'm doing. So, I mean, you just learn as you go, right? So let's try this again then. Okay. Go to my terminal. Okay, let's clear this shit. Aha, now this looks like it's working. And then here. All things are... So these are all my projects description. This is super interesting. Okay, probably this is it. I'll just confirm. So this is the output now. It seems that it's working, right? This is the correct output that we were expecting, right? Actually, I'll just try to do that, to do this one as well. Actual channel ID and project name. Post. Channel 1, comments. So, let's see. Channel ID, this is 1, right? Okay, so this should be correct because it's 1, I think. And then I just changed project name in this case then. Project name to whatever I want. Ideal client, let's say. Okay. Ideal client. API. Date. Let's just change this date. Just. Oops. What today is June? Oh fuck. June 2nd. Hopefully it works. Status success. Okay, now I should see this here. Oh, this is amazing. So it did work. So now it seems that things can happen in the behind the scenes directly in the front end. This is amazing. So I mean, I know it's working now, but I'll just make sure, right? The 3 curl commands that you suggested for my terminal. Okay, before, if it is correct, then does this mean that I created the 3 API endpoints already? And if yes, does that mean that now things like an agent can work behind the scenes and basically perform all the CRUD actions in my applications for those specific models that I created, the API endpoints, which are the comments, channels, and projects? Need to see if I'm understanding this correctly. Yeah, now it's like super answering my question, but and again, you don't need to change change the syntax and stuff. Like Claude understand perfectly, but just my attention to detail. If that means now, like an agent can work behind the scenes and basically perform all the what they can't yet. Now, my question is, where am I saying probably is in the controller? Because that's where probably I'm saying that it can only create, update, and do all those things, I think. Okay, but drive-through window, the API. This is an amazing analogy. Order from the menu. The hard part, Rails API, is that this is my I'm blown away. Now I need to ask this question. So, okay, that is awesome. But just for me to understand, why agents can't update, delete, or create new channels or projects? Is it because in the API controllers, I'm specifying which actions they can perform? If yes, can you just show me where it is specified? And if that's the case, I'm pretty sure if I want to add the update, delete, and create actions, it will be in the API controllers as well, right? And I want to be really careful not to hit the limit on these messages, because these are not essential messages to deploy this, but I need to understand, right? There is no point in just copy and paste and not understanding what I'm doing or what's happening, right? I need to at least have, I don't need to understand what each line of code means, but I need to understand kind of what I'm doing at high level at least. Part is in the routes. Yeah, because here oh no, routes here. Just the index show and then create. That makes sense. Right, because if you see here, there is the other actions are not here in the same way that I have it here, for example. You see? Yeah, okay, that makes total sense. Now I understand. Methods for the actions we allowed. We don't have this. Yeah, okay. Okay. For use case, you only need, this follows the principle of least privilege, only gives access to what's needed. You can always add more later. Okay, that makes total sense. So let's go back here. And now I built the API, which was literally 3 lines of code. Rails is amazing because of that. I have so many questions. Like, one question that I really want to know is, that was so easy. I wonder if building APIs with other programming languages is as easy as this, but that's for another time. Now let's create the MCP server that Claude will use to interact with your Rails app. Create a new directory for MCP server outside your Rails app. Okay, so I'll go back to my terminal. And now I guess I can just close this one, right? Okay. So ls, I don't know how I can go back. So I know there is a command for that to kind of go back one. I'm using my terminal in my MacBook to build a project management app. I want to leave my app repository. What's the command line command that I can run in the terminal in order to go outside the current folder, which is my web application folder? I don't know if you understand this is cd. Okay. And the parent directory of the current directory. So that's exactly what I need. So I guess I'll just, okay. I wonder if I should create a repository. Yeah, I'll need to ask this question. So on your step 4.1, create MCP server directory outside of my Rails app, right? So my question is, should I, because my Rails app is just a directory, a file, but if I go to the parent directory, it's just my MacBook. I mean, my app isn't in directory, isn't inside another folder. So I guess my question is it okay if I just create this MCP server directory in my MacBook without any parent inside any other parent folder? And if eventually in the future I want to change the location of both my app and the MCP server, can I just create a directory then and just add them later? Would that break anything? Create them at the same level here, sorry. Yeah, okay. Can you move? Yes, you can both later. The only thing you need to update is the path, for example. Why they are in the Rails app runs. Server talks to Rails via HTTP. Keep things tidy from the start. You could create a parent folder now. So this is the type of decision that you have to make before having all the context and really the knowledge to make the decision. It may sound simple, but I guess I want to create that. But let me ask another thing here. Also, if eventually I create another app, like multiple apps, and I want to also use MCP servers, do I need to create one MCP server for each one of those apps? Just one can serve all of them? How does that work? And when I start asking these questions, I need to be mindful not to get into this rabbit hole. I need to be careful to just ask just the amount of questions to get the answers that I need to have like better understanding and on how to move forward with all of that, you know. And also think a bit more longer term. So, okay, 3 options for multiple apps. Recommended. Support multiple apps. Okay. Separate MCP servers. One smart MCP. Rails MCP that can connect to any dynamically. Wow. Right. Later organize. Okay. It's just a bridge. Okay, yeah. So let's leave it as is for now. Where was I? So create the MCP here. So going back, now it's, yeah, so directory. This is basically just going to create a folder and directing me to that folder. So you see, now I'm in that folder, Rails MCP Server, okay. Initialize a new Node.js project. Now this is the part where I have no idea actually what I'll be doing because I don't know anything about Node.js. Install dependencies, whatever that means. Model context protocol. Added 98 packages and audited 99.3 seconds. Found 0 vulnerabilities. Okay. Create. So this is the piece where I don't really know. Okay, so on step 4.3, create the MCP server. How do I do that? Like, just open up VS Code, like a new file in VS Code? I really have no idea. I mean, I kind of have an idea, but... Okay, let me... Okay. Make sure I'm in the server, Rails MCP server, yeah. So this is the same command that I had here, I think. Yeah, no, it's not. So using terminal recommended. Okay. So I'll just go the recommended way. Oops. Whoa. Okay. Oh, interesting. Save the file. I think so. Node modules, index, packet JSON, node modules. Okay. I think it does now, right? So I'll just copy this, save. And actually this is all mixed up now, so because this is a different thing, right? Content of... Okay, so should I open again a file? Package JSON. What the fuck? Server for Rails book app. Okay. Make the server executable. Configuration. Okay, wait, so I'm doing a bunch of things here and I need to make sure it's correct. So I don't know what this is, but Let me do this. And I wish I could be able to paste, and this is just random, but in the same way that when I have long text and I paste it in the chat here, Claude by default creates this kind of pasted content window, but only for long text, right? When I have like small text, it just pastes in here. I really wanted to have the option to have in here, just to have like a better visual organization of, you know, the things, but okay, and then okay, so before I continue, you can see the pasted text, which is the index.js code that I just copied from the artifact you provided in my VS Code. My question is the location where I'm adding this index.js code correct? That's the second screenshot, because I have the users, my name, and then the directory, and then index.js, but then I have 3 dots. This is what I see at the top of my VS Code window, right, where it shows the directory. But then I see these 3 dotted lines. I'm not sure what that means and if that's correct. And the same question goes for the package.json. I just copied and paste the code below in that, and the directory you can see in the third screenshot. The same way I have package.json and then 3 dots. I don't know what that means. And finally, I also made the server executable on your step 4.5. I ran that command, but I didn't get any output in the terminal. You can see that in the final part of my message here. Does all of this look correct? Is it working the way it should? Don't know what that means. Maybe just kind of organize my questions. If all of this is correct, then on step 5.1, how can I configure this using the terminal? Give me really the steps. Like, should I open a new tab in my terminal and just paste this nano command line there? And then where should I paste this Claude desktop config.json code? I really have no idea. So, and this is how you learn, right? You keep asking very specific questions so that either you get the, for reason one, you get the answer, but also you start to understand what you're doing. So, oh man. But it's been 55 minutes. It's good enough. Perfect. You're doing everything correct. Let me address your questions. This is totally normal. Just means we're shortening the path because it's too long. We fit on the tab. Right. The no output success. Unix comments typically stay silent when they work. If there was an error, you'd see it. In your terminal, run this command. Okay. I guess I'll open a new one. Okay, just close this. All right. Of course. What the wait. You see existing content. What the fuck, man? This is what I got after running the nano command in my terminal. Does the file exist? And if so, if the file is empty, where and how do I paste the JSON code on step 3? And yeah. And I don't even know if you guys could see it. Like, I don't know how personal is this kind of information, but it already has a, you need to edit, not replace. Here exactly how. Position your cursor. Use 0 keys to move your cursor to the line 2. Okay. add a comma. Okay, wait, so, okay. See how specific it is being, you know? Okay. Global shortcut. See? So again, the indentation issue, but whatever. So it's pretty much it, isn't it? Braces, outspace, MCP servers. Okay. Important notes. Don't forget the comma. Make sure the spacing indentation matches. Must balance. So the spacing, man, like, okay. So you see why sometimes I talk about the indentation. It sounds like just a thing that I have, but it's an important note if it means what I'm doing actually. But okay. Control 0. How do I save this? Letter O, not 0. Letter O, not 0. Enter. Control X. Okay. After saving, just above Glover and the MCP Server sections. It's working. I mean, I'm blown away. It's been, I mean, in Brazil we have this saying like, don't sing the victory before the match is over or something like that. And I want to be careful not to do that, but it's been pretty straightforward. I mean, some questions here and there, but it's been pretty straightforward. I'm kind of blown away, but let's. And the other saying is the game only ends when it finishes, or something like that. Okay. Complete list. Look for input area. These are available. Now it's time to see if it's actually working. Because as far as I understand, I should see an icon in the text input area somewhere here, right? Let's see. Quitting. Opening it up again. I don't see anything here. More models. Rails Project Manager. Oh, I think this is it. So let's see. I can't believe that. Wait. Look for the. Let's see first. Like, disable all tools. I like to have better names for that, but. Okay, now if it's correct, now we can move on to step 6. But before, I want to make sure this is it. So, okay, I quit and opened my Claude desktop here. And while I don't see the exact icon that you had suggested on number 3 on step 5.2, what I do see when I click the search and tools icon, I see Rails Project Manager. And then when I click there, these are the options that I see. You can see the screenshots attached. Is this it? Does it mean it is now I officially have an agent in my project management app? This is so cool. Let's see. You officially have an MCP agent connected to your Rails app. Like what success looks like. Appears in the tools menu, the 5 badges shows. Fuck me, this is what I was. Fuck. Right when I finished it, you now have a working agent. I have to subscribe. Like, how much is this fucking max plan? 550 reais. This is Brazilian reais. Usage than pro. Well, first let's see all your channels and projects. Find specific meetings by test it out. Newcomer, can you list all channels in my Rails app, or even better, add a comment? Oh, wow, man, I can't believe I done that. Okay. First, let's try and do that. Then, what I'll do, it's open. Oh, but I have. So I just reached the limit exactly when I finished this integration. And now I'm really wondering if I should pay this max plan. I'll think about it. I'll come back in a second. Okay, so I'm back. And well, as you can see, I created this. I officially have an MCP agent connected to my Rails app. I'll just pay for the max version. I need to test this now. One thing for welcome to Max. Now I'm officially a nerd who has Claude Max. Okay. Research. Yeah. Okay, let's test this. Claude likes to use an external integration. Review each action carefully before I cannot guarantee this. Third party. Allow always, that's my internal. This is amazing. This is amazing. Can't believe I did it. Let's test this. Let's go to this channel. Let's create it. Well, I guess I created an agent. I'm a bit mind blown. And you know, the best part of all of this is that I have the whole process documented. And I'm a bit mind blown because this only shows that you can do pretty much anything you want if you really want it, right? And this AI stuff is, you can just learn anything, really. So let me digest that for a second, because I can't believe I just did it, man. Because this, like, even a week ago, these MCP agents were such a foreign concept to me, but now it's working. It's incredible. And I actually have some questions, because this is me logged into one user, and then I have another user where, oops, Victor Fake or Victor Kim. Well, I thought I had like a fake one, but this is this is something I need to change, I think. In my code. So never mind. But yeah, it's working. I'll ask one thing now. This is amazing, but now, like, this agent has access only to my app with the current user that I'm logged in, correct? If I log in with another user, will the MCP agent still have access to all of that? This is amazing. It was much more straightforward than I thought. Random question. Setting up the APIs with my Rails app was really straightforward. It was basically like 3 lines in the terminal. Is it that easy to set up an API if my app was written in, let's say,
Node.js or whatever other programming language, or is it Rails that makes it really easy? And then the other question is, the agent is working really well and it's all working fine for the current user that is logged in now. What if I log in with another user? We'll have totally different projects and channel names and all of that. How does that work? Like, would I need to create another MCP? I think that's the piece of that's the authentication piece that was missing. Yeah, see? Yeah. Rails is amazing. Important. Shows all data regardless of who's logged in. Here's what's happening. Oh, every channel and project in the database connects to your Rails API. Create those two to make it use it. This is the thing. Rails API controllers. Yeah, that's what I told you, right? So actually, my goal is I actually want to create like a demo version of my app with fake projects, fake meetings, and all of that. So the way that I think I can achieve that is by creating a new user and just creating a bunch of fake things. But maybe there is another approach, and that's maybe Claude can give me a better idea. So, okay, makes sense. Because my end goal actually is to create a demo version with fake projects, fake meetings, fake data, and for me, essentially to demonstrate how an agent could work. So what's the best way for me to do that? Because what I was thinking is just creating a new user and just create a bunch of fake projects and fake data, and then just use the agent be user specific. Do you have any better, easier alternative? Demo data with naming convention. Specific prefix. Proceed. Hmm. What's a seed file? What is that? Okay, let's go for option 2. First, what is a Rails seed file? And then, can I potentially have MCP agent to create these fake projects with the naming convention and all? Starter pack for a database. Default location, how it runs, user create. Okay, run with repeat or run anytime to reset demo data. Now I'm just going to use an agent to create all this fake data. More fun shows off the agent. Of course, I'll go with option B. Option 2. Go. Oh, fuck. And now that I have the max plan, I mean, I don't even care about usage hitting the limit. This should be pretty straightforward because I'm just adding the actions to controllers and updating the routes. But one thing, let me just clarify one thing before moving forward. Because I'm actually using TurboStream, which is basically just a modal that shows up to create a new project. So, okay, before we start and we start making these changes, for editing and let's delete that. Projects controller, comments controller, channel. Okay, so before we start, I am using, for example, to create a new project, I'm using TurboStream to open up a modal to create a project. So there isn't really a URL, I think. Would that affect how MCP works? And I think also to edit an existing commit, that's also through a TurboStream, which is a modal. Does that, I guess my question then is, having actions be performed through TurboStream, which don't change the, I think don't have a specific URL. Does that it make it that does that work with an agent still? I guess. Also, when I create these demo projects, these are all still going to show up in my projects in my projects index page, right? Along with all the other existing projects, right? Is there a way, and I don't know if I should create a new page just for that, but when I demo, I just want to show the fake data, if that makes sense. And just give you an answer. Don't need to give me any code or implementation specifically for that now. Doesn't matter. Thank God. Human brain talks directly to our mobile troubleshooting direct API. Thank God I need to change that. Okay. HTTP requests. Yeah. Yeah. Pro shop mixed with the real. Okay. So I guess I'll create a demo only. Oh, sorry, a demo only page. But first, let's change these things here. So I go to routes. So basically what I'm changing is these actions here, right? So let's just make sure API viewer and MCP channels only index show create comments only create projects only index show create index. So this is only to create, right? To create channels and projects. And the create action to your channels. This is it. This would be between the private. I mean, the order doesn't. Yep. And then the rest is the same, I guess. Oh, because the comment, I already had it. Right, comment new, create. Let me check the routes then. Comments create. Nav create channels controller. This is it. Oh, wait. Channels controller. Wait, I think. And this is where you need to be careful because this is the same code, but it's just a newer version. So, and then the projects controller. The fuck? Wait. Update your. So that's the thing. Sometimes I think it's just easier to, you see all of this. What is that? New tools. So here I'll just copy and paste all of these because I really don't know what this means. Okay, let's save all Rails files. Okay. Restart. Okay, let's see. Rails server is still okay, profile. Okay. Because if I look in the tools, then I should have more, yeah, create channel, create project. Failed. Okay. So then I don't want to deal with these problems, just figure it out yourself. And this is what Claude's doing now. Yeah, I think it's in the Rails control. Server logs. So I think with Cloud Code, this could all be handled by Claude because I'm just copy and pasting things, inside the private section. Okay, add this method. Wait. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So just add that to my project's controller, which is there. So now it should be, once you add this message, save the file, try creating the channel again. Okay. Let's see if it goes now. Another minute. Okay, let's do this. It's been a while since I haven't pasted code like this. No, but then my project model belongs to user. And if you look at channel model, belongs to user, optional true. But both my project and channel models have an association with user, as you can see in the code below. Project model. Database table doesn't have the user ID. Then, what the fuck? Remove the user assignment. This is the proper fix, isn't it? Yeah, so this is a critical error. It seems that I made when developing the app. I created a association between these different tables, but there isn't a column. Whatever. Remove this line. Channel user first. Okay. And I don't have. Okay, let's try again. ID 13. Let's see. This is crazy, man. It did create, actually. Okay. I don't think it can edit. Can it? Channels controller. Okay, wait. What's it on me? I think it's written part. Okay, let's do it. But first, I want to create a demo page so that I can have all the demo data inside that page. Or actually, should I add a toggle to filter out in my main project index page, filtering by, projects and channels that have demo in the name? How hard is that? How complex is it for me to do that? 10 lines of code. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it's not that simple. Can it create directly? Can you create this toggle directly by coding? Or what do you mean by asking me this question? Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what I imagine. So, as well as the controller actions, I think. Yeah, but then I have to change the timeline controller. Yeah, actually it's not this. None of this, right? I think Claude's being overly optimistic here. Failed to fetch. So, is it that simple? Because attached you can see both index pages for projects and channels. I think for channels is a bit more straightforward. I think the tricky piece with the project's index page is because I have a timeline there, and also like the projects showing a grid layout at the bottom of the page. Those will also need to be filtered out. So is it still that simple? Let me add the code for the timeline as well, because this caused me a lot of trouble. I'll just add all of this. Come on, Opus 4. You can do it. Okay. Super simple. Just filter channels. Add toggle links. Yeah. Still simple, but needs two changes. Filter privacy control. Okay. Yes, give me the whole code. And just a related question. After, let's say, I create a demo, a toggle, and it works, and everything is working as expected, then what I do, can I just commit the code? Because every change that I'm making in the code now, it is still being in that branch, local branch, right? The whole code. I mean, if I still can finish this within the next 45 minutes, I'll be blown away. To commit as you go. Okay, but before I want to commit the code that I built so far for the agent, then I'll commit the code for the toggle filter for projects. How can I do that? And I need to stop. Like, sometimes it's easy to get impatient and just start copying and pasting stuff, but I've been that rabbit hole before, and it is for sure better to ask more questions, even though it's a pain in the ass, and then start the actual implementation. I don't know if Claude's getting tired. So let's do this. Is this correct? Wrong directory. Okay. Okay, yeah, makes sense. And it start thinking again, because you get used to just asking stuff, unbranch changes, not staged for commit. Okay. Push. Has no upstream branch. So this is really beginner stuff. I should know how to do it, but I've never worked with a separate branch, Okay. Okay. Yeah, I know. I still need to. Okay. It seems to be working. So I just committed the routes change, and then ran the git status again. But there are some changes that are not staged for commit. What are these? Should I commit those? Cool, good to know. Definitely adds the S star. Okay. So basically we're just run these. So should I just now type git push? Yeah, okay. Git status is up to date. Changes not. So all good. It's okay. Just yes, I'm ready to add the toggle filter now. Take into consideration the project and channel index pages that I had attached the code previously, as well as the timeline related code. Yes, ready to implement the toggle filter now. Take into consideration the code that I had sent previously related to the projects and channels index pages, as well as the timeline related code. Also ask me, and the controllers as well, also ask me if you need any other piece of code in order to perform this task. Or should I just add it now, right? Channels controller. Project controller. Probably this is redundant because the Claude will have it in memory, but okay, let's see. Now I'm really going to see like Opus 4 capabilities because I mean, it is actually changing the code, right? So I don't know what this means. Channels controller. Replace the index method with line 6 title section. Okay. Okay, I made all the changes, but I just wait. Oh fuck, I changed something that I shouldn't. Yeah, I changed this. So this is when you need to be really careful because I changed the wrong controller. This is the controller I want to change. That's it. Let's see. Okay. I think I changed something. See, also here again. Channels controller. This is where I need to be really careful because I changed the wrong channel controller as well. See, this is it. Okay. Seems to be working. Okay, it's working. So now I want you to create two other channels. One named, if I just type it, it's easier. This is insane. This is insane. Insane. Okay, let's try one thing. So I had created the slides. This is just their process, right? So what I'll do, just to make it easier. This is amazing. Okay, now I want you to create 3 different projects. One called Demo, DBT, Improvement with AI. The other one is Expected GMV Scraper, Improved by AI. And the third one will be Momentum and Avara MCP integration. And also, just probably I don't even need to ask. Just change one thing here real quick, just for demo purposes. This is in the timeline, yeah. No, it's not here. It's 4. Yeah, it's here. Feel free to make up random start and end dates as long as they are greater or equal than today. Actually, what I'll do is also for the first project, I want you to relate the first project with the department Biz Ops. The second project also related with the department Biz Ops. And the third one I want to relate with GTM Tech Stack department. You should be able to understand. Because in my app, like every project is related to a specific department. So the first and second project with department Biz Ops. Now I really want to see it performing. Jesus. This so cool. I'll give you a rest today, Claude. No, for now it's good. Thank you very much for all your help here. It always feels very weird for me to thank them, but I think this is this was amazing, and hopefully this shows you not only how to build an agent or how to talk to an LLM to build something, but really make you believe that you can do anything in today's world if you really want and if you're really curious about it. So yeah, hopefully this video helps, gives you the courage and determination to go after what you're looking for, because really, like, anything is possible, really. A year ago, I couldn't even code. I learned how to code a bit, and even a week ago, this agent thing was so foreign to me. And basically, in like a couple of hours, I built something. I adapted my app for a demo environment. And yeah, I'm still blown away. I still have to digest all of this. But yeah, hopefully it helped everyone out there trying to understand how to build an agent, how to code, how to talk to the LLM, but most importantly, how to pursue your dreams, maybe. See you next time.